Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First, the federal government handed out over $300 million in small business loans to children. Now calm down, America. The government wasn't wasting your money. They were investing in the next generation of fraud. Then Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett went on MSNBC to explain that entering the country illegally isn't actually a crime. Yes, Steele, not a crime, just illegal. That's the same legal philosophy that made Enron and Bernie Madoff sleep easy at night. And then finally, new reports reveal that most of President Biden's official documents were signed with an auto pen. Now, could this jeopardize some of those pardons that he made? We're going to look into that. Okay, let's dive in. The government gave loans of over $300 million to 11-year-olds. Turns out the best way to stimulate the economy is by handing out loans to people who still believe in the tooth fairy. Doge is reporting that the Small Business Administration, or SBA, granted over 5,000 loans for $312 million in 2020 and 21 to borrowers that were 11 years old or younger. All of these loans use a social security number with an incorrect name, which you'd expect since these kids were still learning to spell. Biden's SBA gave $312 million to children, which is weird because I thought the only thing they wanted to fund for kids was puberty blockers. You've got to admire Democrats' ingenuity, though. Who knew the road to economic recovery would go straight through a toddler's lemonade stand? On MSNBC, Representative Jasmine Crockett insisted that just because something is illegal doesn't mean it's a crime.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
Crockett says that it's not a crime, it's just illegal. That explains a lot about Congress's approach to stock trading. I can't wait to try this in court. Your Honor, I know that I ran a Ponzi scheme, but according to legal expert Jasmine Crockett, just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's a crime. If Biden's pardons were signed with an auto pen, given his mental decline, are his pardons still valid? Because, let's be honest, if Biden didn't know he was the president, he sure didn't know he was pardoning someone. Concerns have arisen over former President Joe Biden's use of an auto pen to sign his name while in office. It's being reported that nearly all of the documents bearing his signature were signed with an auto pen, with the exception of his withdrawal letter from the 2024 presidential race. Well, that's not suspicious at all, isn't it? That's the one thing that they made sure he actually signed. I can just see Nancy Pelosi on a couch somewhere like, no, make sure that Joe signs this one for real. This is one he needs to sign. Now, many presidents have used auto pen signatures. For example, a prior DOJ review under President George W. Bush found an auto pen signature to be legal, but Bush himself avoided using it due to potential challenges. However, President Obama previously used the auto pen for key legislation. But what about a president who doesn't know what's going on? Like a president who needs a GPS just to find the podium, or someone who tries to shake hands with the air. Someone like that. Regarding pardons, the Constitution does give the president very broad pardon powers, but only the president can pardon someone, not his assistant or his wife or the person who changes his diapers. Now, given the situation I'm thinking about, I'm not sure which one of those was actually the most in charge. The abrupt dismissal of pardon attorney Liz Oyer on March 7th has fueled speculation about a DOJ investigation into Biden's last-minute pardons. Oyer was immediately escorted from the building, a procedure typically used to secure electronic records before they can be deleted. Now, I'm sure that you can remember Biden's pardon spree he went on, including a broad pardon for his son, Hunter, covering over a decade of potential crimes. And then the most outrageous pardons were the preemptive ones issued on Biden's last day in office to his family members, Dr. Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, and members of the House January 6th Special Committee. Like, I know we thought it was terrible when he did the Hunter Biden thing, and then it's like, watch this. And then you had that slew of preemptive pardons that was just nuts. While presidential pardons are generally non-justiciable under Article 2 of the Constitution, two issues have prompted further scrutiny. One, Biden's cognitive decline and the use of the Autopen signatures, which is number 2. The only thing that Biden fully grasped during his presidency was the railing helping him up the stairs. As you may recall, there was one time where Speaker of the House Mike Johnson described a conversation where Biden appeared unaware that he had halted liquid natural gas exports that did raise concerns about his grasp on key policy decisions. Halted natural gas exports, that sounded funny. It sounds like somebody told him to clench. The Autopen's use does raise legal questions if the president did not direct or instruct or even have knowledge of the signature being issued in his name. A review of the Office of the Pardon Attorney's records could reveal whether these controversial pardons were properly vetted or if the White House officials just kind of bypassed any procedures to get these signed by the Autopen. Now, if that's what they did, that would surely suggest some kind of effort to shield individuals from future investigations, which could lead to an obstruction of justice inquiry. A grand jury investigation could be launched to examine whether the pardon process was manipulated to protect insiders linked to Biden rather than focusing on the pardons themselves. A presidential pardon signed by Autopen without the president's knowledge or agreement would not be legally valid. So, in a twist of irony, the fact that Biden wasn't mentally present might actually help America for once. The basic legal question is this: if a machine signs a document and the guy in charge has the cognitive function of a magic 8-ball, is that really a presidential pardon or just elder fraud? Thanks for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.